So welcome everyone to the third day, the third session of this workshop, Precious Jewels from the Buddha in the Light of Integral Yoga. Before we start the session, let's just step back for a couple of moments of silence. Over to you, Monica.
Thank you. Thank you, James. And welcome again, everyone, for the last day of the workshop. So before we take up anything new, would anyone want to share about their practice of what we have been trying to do, or maybe some, I don't know, challenges or non-resonances or resonance? Resonance, I think, can be taken care of. But if there is a problem, if there is something that we can't fathom with the practice, and if you'd like to share, or any experience in general, if you want to share, please open up and share.
Actually, can I make a comment, Monica?
Yes, please. Yes.
So look, we're watching the sensations come and go and disengaging from the drama. But we should also think simultaneously be offering as well. Because if we're just, like said, in a state of neutrality about just watching the sensations coming and going, I think it gives much more impetus to the process if you offer, use your active aspiration to offer to the mother. Offer these sensations, you can offer even the dramas as well. Offer everything.
Absolutely in resonance, James. I think it's just a way of putting it, I would say. And the process still remains the same for me, at least I have observed, because I've been offering also and I've been doing this technique also. So for me, it hasn't mattered much because the process remains same, what you just shared, to offer your dramas. And mother actually shares that the Buddha is not using the word divine, but he means the same. So it's really amazing that we are doing the process and somebody may express it in a different manner.
Yeah.
But the result is the same. So I totally resonate with what you shared. And if that resonates better, then we use that. Yes, definitely.
It can also be like a simultaneous process.
Absolutely.
As you watch the sensations come and go, and you offer the sensations at the same
Absolutely.
time.
Yes. Yeah.
Very
Totally.
powerful.
Yes. Totally agree. Yes. Yeah. Anyone else?
I wanted to share that I, especially after the session, I've been very actively, after the first session, actively, looking at this whole idea of aversion and craving, and, how, and especially one thing that really resonated with me is making note of something that you like, because that's so subtle. I think I'm practicing, it's so, it's so good because you're liking it. So it's really hard to watch it because you want to enjoy it, right? And you can't enjoy if you're watching. But I felt so good, and I think I got an insight that I don't like when somebody is not kind to me, you know. I have aversions towards certain things, but I really cannot overcome those aversions unless I stop finding this clinginess in what I like. So it's like goes hand in hand. So if I want to, you know, it's my aspiration to develop that equanimity towards my aversions, but it cannot happen unless I don't have craving towards what I like. And it could be things like somebody likes, you know, saying sweet words with you, you know, something I would really like. Oh, somebody speaks gently or kindly to me. But even that's a liking, right? And I thought maybe I have to overcome that too. So I think that was really beautiful and it was quite deep. And I've been meditating and kind of thinking. So thank you very much for that.
Yeah, thank you. So yes, Sri Aurobindo says that we have to rise above our likes and dislikes. So, and the thing that you said that I'm not able to enjoy if I'm watching while being enjoy. I think there is something there. Maybe you can change a word there and then what you actually mean would come out. There is a different thing in delight, taking delight in something. And there is a difference when we are getting intoxicated by something. So when we are watching while enjoying something which we like, it's just that you are not getting intoxicated. You're not getting drunk on it. It's not that you're not taking delight in it, because we can't escape delight. Sri Aurobindo says that the world is made for delight. And delight is our sustenance. We can't live without delight. So even at times we have delight in our suffering. So we prolong our suffering because we somehow get delight in it, right? So yeah, what you mean is that you can't get intoxicated while you are watching the process of liking, disliking, what you were sharing, liking pleasant things, but you will still have delight in it. But the delight will be a kind of, it's like you're enjoying it, but you're not clinging to it. So this is very important for us because it is impossible to move towards true consciousness or your true self, which we all want, without letting go of likes and preferences and dislikes and disgusts. It is impossible. Like the dimension is different. You can't be in the dimension of like and dislike and hence simultaneously be in the true consciousness. That's not happening because the dimension is different. Yeah. So Pooja says, how do we figure that we are getting intoxicated? Does craving for more means that we are intoxicated? Yeah, I think that is one signal, what you just shared, that the mind wants to repeat it. And it's not with one of us. The billions of us, the same process is happening because the malady remains the same. We believe ourselves to be a separate, rigid, small little me, which is always lacking something. And of course, we can't tolerate that lack. We want to be infinite. We want to be more, more, more. And we think that we can be more by again and again having something which makes us feel good. So this, you will figure out. You will know that you are getting intoxicated because it will make you more restless. It will make you crave. And you feel uneasy. You don't feel your easy self when you are craving and becoming restless for something which you want to have or do or whatever. So you would know. And you yourself answered your question. Yes, Ashwini.
Yeah, so I must confess that it's difficult. I think it's the mind, whatever the conditioning, and what you just Pooja and you shared about likings, the like part of it, and feeling intoxicated or wanting more. I think that is also applicable to the aversion part of it. Yeah, because I just read what I had written. I'm not the drama, I am an awareness of the drama. So even if I am in that awareness, and I'm getting some thoughts which are not pleasant, or some emotions, there is this agitation in the mind as to why is it still coming, or why is it.
And you watch the agitation also.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's like an infinite series going on.
Exactly.
For
Yeah.
which you have to just watch. So first you watch the thought. The moment you see that there is an unpleasant thought, what happens in the being is agitation. So you watch the agitation. Then you watch yourself watching the agitation.
Yeah.
Like it's like an infinite series. And you the only purpose you have to be standing there is just to witness. And this totally resonates with Aurobindo's witnessing.
Okay.
Right? So Sri Aurobindo again and again points towards being a witness, being a witness, being a witness. And without being a continuous witness in which we fail again and again, which is part of the game, doesn't matter. But when we rise up again to be the witness, the more you are witnessing, you are stepping back into your true self.
Yeah. But at the same time, the mind is trying to offer some solutions to the agitation.
That's okay. Watch that. Watch that.
Too.
At times, it may happen that you act according to one of the solutions.
Yeah.
Fine. Completely fine. Part of the process.
Okay.
Yeah. So it doesn't mean that, oh, I am watching, I'm not moving. Like, oh, I want to, take the cup, but I'm just watching not like that.
Right.
So it's very organic process, but what we want to do here is that we want to move towards a purer life divine.
Yeah.
Right? So there we have to get rid of all the things which are not suitable to life divine.
Yeah.
That is the purpose of this presence of consciousness, which knows, which is, and you will see that if you are truly in the knowing space, in the space of consciousness or awareness, however you may call it, there will be naturally a discernment in that knowing. And that discernment will tell you whether this thought is to be followed or not followed.
Okay.
That's wisdom. It comes hand in hand with the knowing that is working. It's just that mostly we are not present as knowing, so we are incapable of that wisdom also.
Yeah.
Right? So I become capable of wisdom if I am more and more in the knowing space. Then I know, oh, there is this series of thoughts that I'm getting, but I know that these are not to be followed. You will know. It's a knowing, instant knowing. So that knowing has also, by a side effect of it, by a part of it, knowing has wisdom. Knowing has discernment. And the discernment will take us more and more towards purified thoughts and get rid of slowly of all our afflictions, comparisons, kleshas, as they say in Buddhisms. Yeah. So we don't have to abandon anything. We are not abandoning thinking. In the process of watching, we are just abandoning what actually doesn't serve us well.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's it. And we move ahead. You use as much as thoughts you are requiring. No problem. But if thoughts are taking you to a dark place and you have left that place, you are making that U-turn again. Then if you are in the knowing space again and again, then you would know, oh, I'm making that U-turn again.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And we will make U-turns. We make many, many U-turns. The divine allows everything.
Right.
Our errors are his steps on the way. So don't be wary of the U-turns. And again, as Mother says, that slowly, as you are more aligned, the crises are of shorter duration. The crises are still there, but they're of shorter duration. So earlier, I would be 15 days with my own story and drama and sulking and everything. But now in 2 days, I'm fine. Like that.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
No fight with anything, because these stories are very sticky stories. The desires and attachments are very sticky. We have to come to terms with existing with them, coexisting, but not following the dictates.
Right.
More and more. Yeah. So Parks is saying, would offering be delight? Why not? If a scorpion bite can be a delight to Sri Aurobindo, then I'm sure offering can also be delight. Yeah. And go absolutely by your experience. So of course I'm sharing what I can share, and my experience is my own experience. You don't have to believe, of course, all of it. I am not asking. I'm just sharing what are helpful pointers from the teachings. But it's your experience which will make you more convinced on the path and to see what works, what doesn't work. So if offering is delight, then you should know that offering is delight by your offering yourself. You should know for yourself. So anything more before we go ahead to the points today? All right, so I can move then. So another thing that people in the circles of Buddhism and their teachings, Buddha's teachings, they ponder upon is the preciousness of human birth. And why I am sharing this, because it has helped me a lot. Because whenever I myself have been lost in the drama and overwhelmed and tortured by the emotions and everything, then one thing which has helped, one of the things is this also, that, oh my God, we can be so glad that we are relatively so functional. And this human birth is very, very precious. You have a very functional mind. This is the very, as Mother also says about the specialness of human birth, that it's only humans who have the eyes facing forward, not sideways, like, because they have an upright structure, erect structure, because it always looks towards the future, the coming times. But what we do, unfortunately, is always sulk in our gone times. And that doesn't help us, and that doesn't serve the purpose of human life. So again and again, these people, teachers, Buddhist teachers, they remind us of preciousness of human life. That it is this time that you can truly, truly know who you truly are and witness everything consciously, even death consciously. But if we don't practice, then at the time of death, they say that you will be unconscious. And in Buddhism, one of the things is very important, which is that the more conscious and aware you become right now, you will have more of a chance to undergo the process of death in a very conscious manner. So we are not going there, but this is one of the things which they really, really appreciate and practice for. So, yeah, so that death can be also a kind of a journey, in which you are, because they, of course, are believing in rebirth and they know that the consciousness continues. So they want to be fully alive when this process is happening. Like we fall, like we faint for a moment, we are unconscious. We can't see the process fully. But in Buddhism, they say that if you become more and more your true self, which is this pristine consciousness that we are, then we can witness the process of death in a very conscious manner, which makes sense to me. Yeah. So we have to do the work, practice the method right now, so that when we go forward, leave this body for the time being that we have taken, then also we are a conscious witness and we don't faint and we don't become unconscious on the way. And one thing which also they want to do in their life through all the practice is that moment between when you are not fully asleep, you're going to sleep, and so you're awake and sleep is just a few minutes away. There comes a moment where you're not fully awake and not fully asleep, and immediately you slip into sleep. So Buddhist teachers also talk about this continuity of consciousness, that you know that now I am sleeping. You know, what happens with us is that we are on the bed for the time being, we are not able to sleep, and then we just slept. So that continuity of consciousness was not there. Unconsciousness came, laxity came. So that is, again, I feel it's very, very challenging. And Mother also talks about the yoga of sleep and dreams. So there also, to me, it resonates very much, that how to be conscious in your, not only in your dreams, but that process of where you are not fully awake and not sleep, and you're conscious of that intermediate zone also. So many things. Again, this is about the preciousness of human birth. So let us make the best use of this human birth. We have enough pointers that we can go ahead. And yeah, the only place where we have to work is to practice well with sincerity. Now, next point I want to take is there can be many a times overbearing emotions, overwhelming emotions. And the question can be that, okay, we all talk about to be fully in the present with the sensations and everything in the present moment. But what if the present moment is full of so much of suffering that it is unbearable? You can't bear it. So this question was asked to Thich Nhat Hanh, the Zen teacher, and he replied it so beautifully that it really has worked for me and stayed with me also. So he said, and I have experienced this for myself, when at one moment of time I was struggling with some emotions again in my head, and I heard this short talk of his, where somebody asked what to do if the present moment is unbearable. And he said, first of all, a very brilliant question. And then he said that when you are in the present moment and it's lots of suffering, then what you do is that you become aware or available to other conditions of happiness that are available to you in that very moment. So I will just share with you one incident maybe that makes it clear. So I am walking on this grass and I am struggling with some emotions in my head, some story and some emotions. And I'm not able to be fully, working on a method or process or anything. Then I listen to this talk, and immediately when I hear him say that there are other conditions of happiness available in this very moment, suddenly I feel the grass under my feet. And suddenly my attention goes to the birds chirping around, my kids playing here and there, where they were, the sunlight, my mind still functioning. And immediately I felt so much of gratitude that, oh my God, there is so much I have right now in the present moment. But if my focus is only on what is lacking, then of course nobody can help me. So he says that there may be that one condition of happiness is not possible in that moment, and that is making you suffer. But come to realize the other conditions of happiness which are also present in that very moment. So this is something which we can also experiment with when things are overbearing at times. To be grateful for what we have rather than to be cribbing about what we don't have. Yeah. So then I will also want to touch upon karma as it appears in Buddhist teachings. We will not go much into what Sri Aurobindo talks about in detail, karma as a process of experiencing different experiences. So he says that I may be a king in a previous life, but just to experience a different life, I may actually choose life of a beggar because I want to experience that, right? And it is in no way, because I'm choosing to be a beggar, you can't say that it is my karmas that have made me a beggar. So he talks about karma in that sense that you are choosing your experiences. The soul is wanting to have a varied kind of experiences. Right now, what we are talking of karma, which is also practicable and practical and applies to integral yoga also, is very practical cause and effect. See, if right now I think badly of some person in my life, the immediate effect that I have is that I feel impure in my being. I don't have a nice feeling in my being. And the cause and effect also works when you do a gesture of kindness out of not wanting to show anyone, but just like a spontaneous movement of kindness. The immediate effect is that it makes you feel like easy, you are more yourself. You can't help it. It's just the cause and effect. So Buddhism also takes karma in this kind of a sense that what you sow shall you reap. So if I am having and harboring thoughts of anger, I can't expect a healthy life because my life is full of poison, which actually makes very much of a sense if you follow the laws of nature or physics. What you are doing, you are putting in bad food, and what you get is a bad body, like that. And it also invokes or provokes in us that karma is not what you do, but the intention you have while you are doing something. And if you see mother's words, we also see that mother also says that it's not about big thing or small thing that you are doing. It's the consciousness with which you do a particular thing. So here we have again a resonance that if my intention, like if I am like hitting a child, of course, hitting a child is considered to be bad. But if I am hitting for a benefit, like maybe he was going to jump somewhere where he should not jump, and I hit him and he's safe. So my intention is pure. And the result of that will be also to that effect. And in my being also to that effect, and outwardly also to that effect. So in Buddhism, they say that the karma is not only the outer action, it is the intention that you have while you are acting through the body. I'm doing an action, or you are blurting out a word out of your mouth. What is the intention? It may be a very sweet word that you give out of your mouth. But if the intention is not pure, the effect would be according to that intention, not about the word that you spoke. So this again makes us conscious of what am I intending in my mind when I am interacting in my relationships, in my family, at my workplace. What am I truly intending? One has to be very sincere. Catch your intention. And this is how you purify yourself, because I'm catching my intention. If, say, I give a suggestion to someone, okay, we are working together in a team, and I give a suggestion to someone. Now, my intention may be to degrade that other person, and that's why I am critical of that work. Or my intention can be that we are doing it collectively, and this is the point that I see can be improved, and let's share this. So your intention is not to hurt anyone, but to share a constructive criticism. And how would you know whether my intention was right or not? You know it inside. You are very free. You are not restricted by what you said, because you didn't mean any harm to anyone. You said it in a pure way. So we have to work purifying our intentions also. So actions of body, actions of speech, actions of mind. Body, speech, mind thoughts, speech is the word spoken out, body actions that we do. All those appear to be different, but there is one common point, which is the intention behind all of that. So we have to be aware of that. And in that we come to ethical conduct in Buddhism. they place a very great emphasis on ethical conduct. And so they have given out like 10 points, which again I'll share in written later. So 10 bad courses of action which we have to avoid if we want our concentration to be better and if we want to live a purer life. What are those 10? First 3 are the actions of the body. Taking somebody's life. So just killing things around, and even if it's an insect or a creature, taking somebody's life, they consider that this is a harmful action of the body and we should avoid, restrain. Stealing. So somebody gave you something maybe for borrowing and you just like never returned, or something like that, or you took something which did not belong to you. So what we do is whenever we do these actions, we actually make our being impure, and then our concentration cannot be better. Our mind remains scattered. So this is second is stealing, and third is the action of body. Again, we are talking of actions of the body. First, taking life. Second, stealing, that we have to avoid. Third is sexual misconduct. And we all know what is a misconduct. So barring that, being away from that, so that we can be pure in our thoughts and pure in our feelings. Then come 3 forms of speech which we have to avoid. And they all resonate very well with what Mother says about tapasya of speech. Lying. So they say abstain from lying. And if we look at that booklet, little booklet, Ideal Child, there we see Mother says, that if we can learn how not to lie under any circumstance, something good has been done. So abstaining from lying, abstaining from divisive speech. You are speaking or chatting with someone and you are saying the words which will make 2 people anti against each other. They will make each other enemies. You are using divisive speech so that this person comes to your party and becomes an enemy of the other person, like that. So abstaining from that, and harsh speech. Now, this is also very important because at times we think that we have gone spiritual and we will only speak truth. But truth doesn't have to be harsh. We can be extremely gentle, and we have the biggest example in front of us, Sri Aurobindo. Everything of truth said without any harshness. And minimum speech, minimum words required, which are absolutely necessary. So these 3 are forms of speech which we have to avoid: lying, divisive speech, and harsh speech. Even if you are saying the truth, try not to be harsh because it hurts someone. 3 mental states that again have to be avoided: covetousness, malice, having ill will, and wrong view. And wrong view, again, like you can't help but have a wrong view because we don't see things clearly. So what to do? So that's where we have to work on ourselves, so that at least we can admit that I don't see things clearly, because in that admission itself we are so on the ground that you will be open to listening to others also and be less rigid about what I think about a particular situation. So abstaining from wrong view, knowing that I'm very unsure of my thoughts because I don't see clearly. My perception is distorted, and so is others. So don't get insulted or feel dejected by someone's comments very easily, because they also don't know what they are saying. Just like I don't know at times what I am saying. We say out words with such surety at times. Like, I know this how it is, but actually it's nothing. It's just like a bubble, empty bubble, and there is no solidity there. I'm just basing that surety on one little experience. And so is the other person doing. If the other person is making a comment about you or how you are, or, in general about something, and be very sure, he's very sure about the things that he's saying, the guy doesn't know. But this is how we actually are, all of us. So I have seen myself becoming less getting less influenced by other people, what they are commenting about me or other people around me, because just as I don't know when I am making a comment, it's appearing like a very assured comment, but no, it's not. I don't know what I'm talking. So just like that, they also don't know what they are talking. So we don't have to take people seriously, and neither do we have to take ourselves so seriously. So then we can be a little relaxed on kind of wrong view. Because I know that I don't see things clearly, and other people also similarly don't see things clearly. So what they are commenting or what I am commenting, it's of not much importance. Don't give importance to your, because then if I give, what happens is, if I give importance to my own comments, like people should listen to what I'm saying, and like that, they should take me seriously, then it is impossible that at times the other person says something and I will take him seriously, and then I will feel bad and insulted and dejected. So it's like a circle. So although we may have our own experiences, and they may be completely validated, but still we cannot be assured of whatever comments we are making about anything, because another person who has visited the same place or the same situation will make another comment. Now who is right? We often hear about touristic places. You ask one person, okay, how is this place? What was your experience? Different, huh? Then you ask another friend of yours, completely different experience. So who is right? It's just experience and perceptions, which are very many. So who to believe? So these are 3 points of 3 kind of mental states that we have to avoid: covetousness, excessive greed, desire, and envy. Becoming envious of if somebody has something good, becoming envious, because that takes a lot of energy, and it leads to a lot of impurity in the being. Your excessive focus is another person, which is not the right thing. And when you sit for meditation or you begin to concentrate, then and again and again you see that the mind is scattered, because the thoughts are all directed outside. So covetousness, greed, envy, malice, ill will. Ill will is another good point, which Mother also talks about, how to change ill will into goodwill. Because if we truly see, especially in our close relations where things are challenging, we will see that we harbor ill will about people. If we are totally honest, we don't really have goodwill about them, that may the highest benefit happen to them. No. So there, and it's all inward. Thanks for this body which hides so much. Thank God that we don't have a supramental body yet. Otherwise, all the colors will be changing and everybody will be able to see. So to purify wherever we see ill will, to purify that ill will, because it doesn't do an immediate, as we were talking about karma, cause and effect in that sense. Ill will poisons us first, rather than poisoning the other person. So these 3 points. So I have covered now 10 points that come in ethical conduct. First were actions of the body, which we have to abstain from, then actions of speech, forms of speech, and then mental states that we have to be wary of. And once we are doing this, taking care of all these points, then we see that our concentration is much better. If we are concentrating on mother's name, or we are staying in the body with the breath. Mind will have some background chatter, but it will not be like it's there. We are not scattered too much about it with it. It can stay in the background. I am not believing in it. It's like a very old machine which has been running for eons and lifetimes, and now you want that it should come to a halt immediately. It won't, because it has a momentum. It has a momentum. So it takes a while where it tuck, 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 like that. It's coming to a slow halt. It's becoming slower. The grip is like taken away from us. We are away from its grip now more and more. But you can't expect it to just completely wither away, like go away like that. We can't do that. It's a futile fight. So if we, again, kind of making a flowchart for us, if we invest time in seeing that our conduct is ethical, then we have a better purity in the being. With better purity, we have a better concentration. And with better concentration, we are more open to the higher states of our consciousness, which we can access, but we hardly give any time to it. So more intuitive abilities, more insights are there, simplicity is there, and a kind of an openness is there. And all the energy then can be put to, now we come to education of the vital. So all this energy that was getting wasted in all the storylines and dramas and the promises from the world, now that it is not getting wasted there, all this vitality that we have, this can be put into training the vital, which is full of enthusiasm, always ready to learn. So learning, refining skills, learning aesthetics, art, beauty, music, taking care of the body in a rich manner. Because you have now so much of energy, what will you do with all that energy? Earlier, you had hardly any energy. You get to the bed very tired at the end of the day. Why? Because all the energy is getting drained and all the complications and everything. But now so much of vitality is spared. So all that mother says, if we go to Mother on Education, Sri Aurobindo and Mother on Education, refinement of the senses. And it is the vital which was getting entangled, because who is moody? Who throws moods and tantrums? Vital. Who gets disappointed? Vital. I am somebody and see, I'm not being given attention. Now I will sulk. So when all that energy is being spared from being drained, then that vital is full of energy. Where will you put it? You will have to put it somewhere. So we have to put it in the right places, wherever we feel we have a natural inclination to learn and to grow and to progress. For each person, it could be different. It will be different. That will be your own swabhava, swadharma, your own inner truth. So we follow that and we refine our skills. Give the energy some channel kind of, channeling to, so that it can make something beautiful out of this life. But all this goes hand in hand, because at times we may do that. Okay, I am refining my skills, I'm training my vital, but because I'm not working on the other aspects, what we all discussed earlier, ethical conduct and purity and concentration, so it's like there is a division in me. When I'm into that artwork or something, I'm a different person. But when I'm out of it in my relationships, I'm a different person. Bipolar disorder happens. We all are, to a large or small degree. We have multiple personalities. So then we unify our personality if both of the things are going parallel. Refinement of the senses is also going parallel. Plus, we are also focusing on purity in the being. In general, in your interactions, abstaining from harsh speech, lying, divisive speech, actions of body, all that we are taking care of. So it's like you are unifying yourself around this beautiful inner guidance. Okay, so that was that. Anything here? Anyone? We can take a pause.
Can
Yes.
we go back for a moment to the 10 things? I've
Yeah.
got 3 of the body, 3 of speech, 3 mental states, and what's the 10th one?
Oh, I missed it. Yes, you're right. I think I missed it. So so first were the actions of the body, taking life, stealing, sexual misconduct. Then come the forms of speech, 4, 5, 6, 7. There are 4 forms of speech which I have to be abstained from: lying, divisive speech, harsh speech, and idle chit chat. This is what we missed. See how clever. How clever of me to miss that.
How could you, Monica?
Yeah. So, and the last were 3 mental states: covetousness, malice, and a wrong view. Thanks for reminding. Yeah, anything more here? Anyone? Okay, there's another little thing which comes very handy. Again, in the moments when we can't do much practice and suffering is there. Yes, Nandini, you have raised hand. Yes, please.
I just wanted to maybe make a comment, about energy and how does it drain. And I've always wondered that, when I look at Mother Aurobindo, and especially Mother at 95, she went and found, Auroville and the amount of work that she used to do. And, look at Thich Nhat Hanh, 100 books he has written. And I always wonder that we all have the same amount of time, right? And how these of course they were like avatars, and they had that, but of course they came in the human form to show us the way. So they actually had to fight with what we are fighting. And it's so inspirational with what you said, that if we don't overcome this ego consciousness, we cannot even do our swadharma, because we are so lost. Especially with me, I've seen that I would have so much aspirations to do so many things, but I cannot do, because that mental chatter and all the 10 abstinence that you mentioned just takes a toll on us. So I think that's really beautiful, that if we really have aspiration to do mother's work, or have our swadharma, or work for world peace, then we really have to really practice. So I was just thinking that, because it really amazes me when I look at Mother or Thich Nhat Hanh, that how much they could do in this one lifetime, and how we waste our time, just waste, like sometimes I feel. So yeah, thank you very much for that reminder.
Absolutely. It's just that when we are wasting our time, we actually don't consider it a waste. It's very important. My story, my suffering. How can you say I'm wasting my time? So in that moment, we don't think we are wasting. So it's beautiful that now we can see it as a waste, because it means that, like Mother says in one of the prayers, she says that whenever I did something which was like not in aligned with my true nature, I'm rephrasing. Then she says that first I feel regretful. Why did I again like do that? Then I even feel blaming myself. And then it appears childish, blameworthy and childish. So yes, it means we have made some progress at least, because if that is appearing childish, so it means, you have changed your perception at least. Yeah. Yeah, so that's why, since you said, that we waste so much of our time in all these dramas and which we love. And again, promises from the world, which we were first day talking of, that if I'm convinced that the world can give me something, then forever I have to be lost in those stories, because there is still some promise that I will get, like being a beggar all the time. But once we are We have seen in my body, I'm convinced that no, this world cannot give me anything lasting. It's like my experience, not that I've heard from somebody. I think then we can't waste time. Then and then again and again, we remind ourselves of how precious is this human birth. And I don't want to go back there again. And there we can also work on our moods, because it is the vital which makes us all see all the session that we are doing. We are trying to actually, in effect, address the vital. What bothers us most is our, as mother says, vehement impulses and passions and these things. So desires and passions. So if we consider that now I have this opportunity not to waste time and to train the vital, then only actually, see, I'm actually digressing here and there, because this is like evolution. We are moving ahead in evolution. We are living an animalistic life. We are wanting to be superhuman. But right now, we are not even at a fully human stage. Because fully human stage would be a complete mental control of all the things that we have. Do we have that? But we don't have that. How can I think of a life divine if I am not even, my mind is totally out of control? And mother says, when she talks about power of thought and imagination, she says, oh my God, what we do with our mind is like we imagine the worst possible nightmares. Because things are totally out of control. I can imagine, but all that I imagine is the worst possible. So we have to train the mind that it becomes a habit for the mind to visualize and imagine the highest possible. And then to create that, manifest that in our life. And again, Mother and Sri Aurobindo both say to think at will. So we are not abandoning thought here, as we discussed earlier. To think at will. Okay, now let me think like that. And to be able to be silent in the mind at will. Who can do that? Only a person who knows that this world cannot give me anything. Because his mind would not be scattered now anymore. So to be able to think at will, if one requires to be able to silence your mind at will, if that is the requirement, and to be able to receive intuitive guidance, even for, as we were talking about, even for small little things, where should I place this cup? Intuitively, you place it at a right place, just like that. So the more mind is tuned to a silence, the more we are in tune with the true consciousness. And all that is taken away from us if we are lost in the storylines and dramas and still have promises from the worldly existence. And Sri Aurobindo also, he puts it very, very strongly in the Synthesis of Yoga. He puts it very strongly when he's talking about the sacrifice, ascent of sacrifice and sacrifice. He says that all these afflictions, jealousy, ambition, and the bouquet of all these things, negative emotions that we are talking of, they have to be uprooted actually. And they have to be sacrificed, and they ruthlessly, he uses the word ruthlessly, uprooted from the being. And no matter how much of pain they bring while they are being excised. We were talking of endurance earlier. So when all these things are being uprooted from our being, they will bring pain, because they have lived as our skin for a long time. But they will have to be sacrificed, because that is not our true life. And he says they have to be sacrificed at the growth of, at the altar of growth of the spirit. So the more we put ahutis, James was initially talking of, these offerings. The more we put these ahutis and offerings, where are we putting it? The more we put it, the fire of true consciousness grows more and more. So you are more in tune with your true self. We are not losing anything if we are giving away jealousy, lust, ambition, greed, pride, vanity, all the disturbing emotions, the desires, the greeds. When you are giving it away, we think that, oh my God, what will happen of me? I am at loss. But we are not at loss. Our fire of true consciousness is growing higher and higher the more we offer all these, no matter how pain we have to endure, how much of pain. And Buddhism also talks of the same thing, to be totally rid of the kleshas, afflictions or kleshas or all these things, which do not belong to our being. They come from outside and they are not part of our true being. That's why their name is disturbing emotions, because they disturb the poise of the being. On the other hand, compassion, wisdom, kindness, love, do you think they disturb the poise of the being? No. They build the poise of the being. So they are our true consciousnesses. And how can I know what to keep and what to remove? I have to be present in the home. I have to be present in the body. I have to be present. What am I thinking? And if I'm present, then very easily I can segregate all the garbage and put it at the right place. But if I'm absent, usually I'm absent. Where am I gone? I am lost in the promises of the world. So that's why I'm reiterating it again and again, that if we have to get convinced that the world cannot give me anything lasting. And if that conviction right now is not there in somebody's life, then more experience is needed, and so that we can become convinced. Yeah. Yes, anything here? Okay, so what I was sharing earlier before Nandini asked the question is, or shared the comment, is that at times we are suffering. There is something very overwhelming that we may be going through, and other things are not working. One thing which has worked for me many times, still works, is a practice which is called Tonglen, which is exchanging self for others in English, and from Tibetan it's called Tonglen, Tonglen, Tonglen. So there are various teachers who have given their teachings on this practice. You can look up, and I will also give names of some teachers later on towards the end. So what this practice does is that you don't have to get away from your suffering. See, I am suffering. Something is bothering me, and that bother or that turmoil is making me suffer. And I don't know what to do about that suffering. I'm clueless. I'm helpless. What to do? What do I do? I'm totally in the grip of all that overwhelm. So in that moment, what I did following that advice was, now I know how people suffer when they are in such a situation, because I am in such a situation. So it could be any different situation. It could be even a headache. If you are aware of a suffering from a headache, then you can become conscious of that suffering and say, now I know what a headache can do. Now you can empathize with that suffering. So it makes us vastly interconnected with billions and gazillions of us going through the similar pain. And although we appear to be different individuals, but we have similar pains. The gamut of pains are similar. So then I can say to myself, now I know how it feels when somebody is going through such and such. Say you are suffering the turmoil of an ego consciousness, and you know that you are going through that, but you are not able to help any further. So you say, now I feel, now I know for sure how it feels when the ego is playing its toll on the body or the mind or wherever. Now you know, right? How much people suffer when they are going through this. So empathy arises within, compassion arises within. And what you do is, you, as if you inhale their suffering, and you inhale, let me take in all this suffering that people go through. You inhale the suffering, and then you exhale out that may no one suffer. May no one have to go through this suffering that I'm going through. May their hearts be at peace, and may their minds be also at peace. So it has worked, at least for me, many, many times very, very well. And I think again, it may resonate with someone, not with another. I'm not sure. May depend upon our natures and inclinations. So I'm just giving out like a tool which worked for me, and which in Buddhism also they give out this tool very much, because it also hits at the self-cherishing mind that we discovered. You know, that I'm always thinking about, but what about me? So in this practice, you can't be bothered about me, because you can't do the practice then. And what it hits at is this little me. And hits mean that it dissolves the little me. And whenever I have done this practice, I have found that then after doing this practice, I am totally unconcerned about my own suffering, as if it doesn't matter. And feel more compassionate about others who are going through the similar pain. So try this, try this out whenever you feel like. Yeah, see Nandini. Yes.
I just wanted to ask a question, but you kind of briefly answered. But I've practiced Tonglen quite a lot, especially in grief. I felt, and one thing that I'm still not very comfortable when I'm doing Tonglen is actually the step when you actually ask for all the suffering on yourself, and you let go. You send away compassion and light to the world. And it's so hard to say that I'm taking on that suffering, because oh my God, my own suffering is so much. How will I manage take 100 200 billion people suffering? I'm not capable. But one thing, exactly my experience, similar to yours, maybe a little bit different, is that I have felt my own suffering diminishing a lot. I feel like sometimes I even get like constellation of stars, that it's just like a star with so many others. Or sometimes I would see it as a cell in mother's body. Sometimes these feelings that it's just so small, among so many other people who are suffering, and that's our interconnectedness actually in that, because we're all in this together. And sometimes I imagine mother as carrying that, so that really helps me. But it's still so hard to say, and I'm still not able to say that okay, I am going to take on the suffering, because I feel I'm so incapable of handling my own suffering, that how can I can send back the light and compassion and peace, but it's still very hard to take on. So I just thought of asking it as a question, but again, you answered. The practice is to make yourself insignificant in that case, I think.
Yeah, I'm not going to answer if you are, yeah, I'm not going to say anything. I think just practice. If it comes to you, it doesn't have to come to you. I know people who don't resonate with Tonglen at all. They can't do it, and completely fine. For them, there are many other tools. But for some, if it resonates, then just go around your practice and you will know for yourself when it works and when it blocks, and how to release that block, and what's happening when that block is there, what is creating that block. All that you would know. Yeah, anything here? Anyone else? Okay. So, Mother has commentaries on Dhammapada. I think all of us may be aware. It's a suggestion that you can go through that because it's impossible for me, and I didn't plan it to also. I could have planned, but I didn't want to because the commentaries are good enough. Of course, I don't have to comment on Mother's commentaries on Dhammapada. So I didn't want to bring that into picture because that is something all of us must read themselves and get the insights directly. But I want to share one verse from Dhammapada, which is one of the starting ones which Mother comments on, and which tells us that actually if we only take care of this root, so much can change in our life. Don't keep jumping from teaching to teaching. Try to avoid. Of course, you can read many books. We like to read books. We like to keep ourselves engaged. We like to read different teachers. No problem. But the true change, if some of us are really wanting a true change and irreversible change of consciousness, then it's very important that we like a teaching, we resonate with the teaching, and now just stick to that teaching for some time. It's like, as we were talking yesterday, I'm learning guitar and then I pick up piano and then I'm picking up some other instrument. I'm not giving enough time. And in that also, I don't practice. Like in 5 days, once I pick up the instrument. Like that, I cannot become an effortless, musician. And all the musicians who have given their lives to music, we know how many hours they have given. Hours and hours of practice they have given. So we have to be really practical about it, that if we want a true and genuine change, if sincerely we want it now, and don't want to go back our old ways, we will have to pick up 1 practice, 2 practice, 3 practice, a gamut of practice, and stick to it. So this is something that you can stick to for some time. Rest of the things we don't stick to, but yes, stick to the practice for some time at least. So yes, the first verse that we have, that Mother has commentary upon, it says, mind precedes all phenomena. Mind matters most. Everything is mind made. If with an impure mind you speak or act, then suffering follows you, as the cartwheel follows the foot of the draft animal. So an animal is tied to a cart, and as the animal moves, the cartwheel kind of, rolls after the animal. So what we were talking, karma is intention. If I intend badly, I cannot avoid the poisonous results of it. If with a pure mind you speak or act, then happiness follows you. Who wants to be happy? Raise your hand. Here is the clue. If with a pure mind you speak or act, then happiness follows you as a shadow that never departs. And Buddha says, you are your own master. You make your future. Mother also has said along the similar lines. So with our imagination, worst possible nightmares we can create for ourselves. And with our own purity and good use of thought and speech and feelings, we can actually create a new world for ourselves, a new being for ourselves, once we are convinced. So get convinced first. Who is not convinced, if I may ask? Is there anyone who is not convinced of a better life? That now I want to have this irreversible change in consciousness, and I don't want to go back. Who is not convinced? Oh, everybody is convinced. Good. Okay. So this is it. Let me see if yeah. So I think more or less this is, of course, we can go on and on, but we actually have enough material for the rest of the lifetimes to practice, really. And let us stick to this. Although along with that, I would like to just throw in also, as I have thrown many things in front of us so that we can explore. There is one thing which I really, really appreciate very much. One thing of Thich Nhat Hanh, where he talks about 4 elements of true love. Now, love is a domain where we struggle because our love is very self-obsessed. We don't love the other person truly. We love things about ourselves and then want the other person to behave in a way that we like. So our love is a very narcissistic love usually. And if some of us are wanting to move into the domain of what is truly love, how do I truly love, purely love? Masters have given pointers. And there is in Mother's 4 austerities and 4 liberations, we have tapasya of speech, tapasya of love, tapasya of power, tapasya of beauty. So in that, tapasya of love also comes, and tapasya of knowledge. So why I am sharing this is because this is an aspect which has bothered me much. Because when you love somebody, always you usually use love in a context of I love somebody. So I'm using that context. At times it makes you suffer more often than not. And we wonder that why is love suffering? And if this is not loving what I am doing, then what is love? So if some of us would like to ponder upon it and refine the movements of love, first of all, Mother and Sri Aurobindo say that love is actually very impersonal movement. It can be impersonal and disinterested only when I don't want anything out of the other person. Usually we are all wanting that if I'm in love with a certain person, and I should get this and that. So it's like, again, that begging bowl is up, risen from the ashes, and we are wanting, and we are claiming that we are loving. So Thich Nhat Hanh shares 4 elements of true love. And these are not just to be heard and forgotten about. These are some things to be pondered about, because if we don't refine our love, then how can we have a heart which is open and full, and how can we move towards the psychic being, our true consciousness? So refining our love is, for me, it has been one of, I would say, very important experiences of life, where you, first of all, you admit that you love wrongly. You don't love, you are selfish. You actually don't want the benefit of the other person. You just keep wanting from the other person. So first admitting that I don't know how to love. And then, of course, I can become open and refine the movements of love. So he gives 4 elements of true love. And these are beautiful elements. I like them very much. Maitri. Maitri is like friendliness or friendship. Karuna. Karuna is, in contemporary words, you can say something related to compassion, where you are empathetic and you are compassionate. Mudita. Mudita is joy. Joy is like being happy for the other person. So even if the other person is not with you and somebody else, being happy for that because the other person is happy. So we have to see that how at times it can get very difficult, because when we are moving from our attachments to love, we see the challenge. But it's good to see the challenge because that's how we proceed. So mudita, joy, and upeksha. Upeksha is a kind of disinterestedness. And if we look at Mother's and Sri Aurobindo's words, here we also see that they also talk of a disinterested love. A love which is not interested that the other person should do this or that or behave in this or this manner or, because you are loving. It's like you are loving by effect, but you're not wanting or being interested in anything out of that love. So a disinterested love. So these 4 elements, if we can ponder about those of us who are interested in loving nicely and in a purified form, Maitri, Karuna, Mudita, Upeksha. There is also a video available on YouTube. If you type elements of true love, Thich Nhat Hanh, you find it in the video. So think about it. I think it has helped me much to think about it. And whenever you feel that you are loving and your love is not being reciprocated, you actually think of these elements and you see whether they are present or not. And you will actually see that no, if they are absent, that's bringing you suffering. Because it's not then love, it's changed into some selfish thing. Yeah, so that's that. I may be forgetting many things, but it doesn't matter. So there are also, if once we go ahead in the path, there are 6 perfections. Now that I am getting rid of all the kleshas and afflictions, what do I do with the empty space? So they say there are 6 paramitas or perfections in which you abundantly grow. Now that the ground is being cleared of all the rubbish, you grow these good things. And these 6 paramitas or perfections are generosity, ethical conduct, of which we talked about, the 10 things that we have to avoid, ethical conduct, patience, things take time, patience, diligence. Diligence comes when we are practicing. So to be diligent in our practice, to be energetic and focused on our practice, diligence, meditation, which can also be related to concentration, that with purity, as purity increases, concentration capacity increases. So generosity, ethical conduct, patience, diligence, meditation, and wisdom. As all of that grows and concentration grows, automatically your wisdom appears as a byproduct. So it grows. So all these 6 perfections are something which grow in the field where now kleshas have been cleared or are more and more getting cleared. Now what to do with this empty field of being? You grow all these good things. So 6 perfections. Yeah, I think that's it. And then there are a few references I want to give of some teachers which you can look up on Google and YouTube. And there is this very nice book that I read lately, which I want to share with you. The PDF of which I can share later and can be forwarded to you. It's called Return from Tomorrow. It's a book I just suddenly came across, and there is this person who dies and then comes back. And what he sees when he is so-called dead is amazing. It's amazing because it's exactly what Mother says or Buddhism says about desires. Like if I am desiring right now and excessively craving, and imagine that suddenly something happens and I die, my desire self continues. That doesn't die. And that person, when he was so-called dead for 9 minutes, he actually saw the desire self in action. Like a person who does not have a body but has a subtle being, he's craving, but he's not able to fulfill himself. So the craving remains. And that is why it is so important to work on our desire soul. Because we don't want to be like living ghosts after we are dead. So this book was very helpful for me, again, as a very potent reminder that we have to work diligently right now, not wait for something else to happen. And this craving and clinging self, we have to get rid of. Enjoying everything, enjoy all the delights of life, but letting go of the craving, clinging. So this book, Return from Tomorrow, this I will give PDF. And then teachers also, the list I will give. You don't have to really write now. If you want to write it down, you can write. Jetsunma Tenzing Palmo, very, very powerful teacher for me personally. Mingyur Rinpoche, again a Buddhist teacher who speaks very, very simply, gives very simple pointers for daily practice. Alan Wallace, an American teacher, Buddhist teacher. Pema Chodron, many of us may know, have heard about. And she also speaks from her raw experiences of life, which are very, very powerful. Many, many good books and talks are available. Pema Chodron. Thich Nhat Hanh. Again, many YouTube teachings are available and some books are available. Ajahn Chah and Adya Shanti. So we can go through, and we don't have to, but since it was on my mind that these were very helpful, all the teachings, so I thought I'll share. So we have around 7 minutes. It's not that we have to utilize all the 7 minutes, but we can stop early also. But if there are any comments or suggestions or questions, please make, and then we can dedicate and end.
I just wanted to add that Pema Chodron book, When Things Fall Apart, I think is my Bible for my difficult days. It saved me from my anxiety and depression. I think worked well than my antidepressants 100%. And now as well, whenever I'm facing a challenge, I just open it and she reminds me that there is no ground and it makes me happy. So yeah, very good book. Very, very good.
Yeah, I have a question or something that just came to me. Is it possible that while practicing, if can it feel draining just to while we are unlearning so many things, or our mind, when that unconditioning is happening?
Yeah, why not? It can feel draining. Invite everything, embrace everything which comes. If draining is coming, let it be.
Okay.
No fight against anything, really. Because then you are truly your being, which is this open, wide open field of consciousness, which invites everything. The drain water can come and go. The Ganges, the river of Ganges can come and go. Drainage is allowed, because again, this too shall pass, right? So if draining is coming, it is impermanent. Very soon abundance will come, then abundance will go, something else will come, right? So just, yeah, everything is allowed. No problem. Yeah, so I hope really that this helps us to become really, I would say, helpful human beings, beautiful human beings, and that in the name of spiritual practice, we don't become too rigid or dogmatic, while we become very open, soft, mellow, wise alongside, and be of a little benefit to this world rather than being a poisonous drop in this world. Because there is so much that the masters have given, and at times it actually brings tears to my eyes that, oh my God, so much has been given. And if even then we continue our blind ways, really the God is so compassionate, the divine is so compassionate that it even allows that. So it's really amazing. Yeah, and thank you. Thank you for, thank you to NAMAH. Thanks to James for giving us this platform.
You're absolutely welcome, Monica. Yeah, it
Thank
was a
Yeah.
good experience. Thank you.
And thanks to all of us who participated and gave so much of intention and really a lot of willingness to listen and to change. It's very rare. And I really, in Buddhism, they say, I rejoice in that. So I rejoice that so many of us are ready for a higher change, good change. And let us dedicate all this goodness, sharing all this goodness with limitless sentient beings. May we all be happy, progressive, and turn more and more to our goodness. And also asking for forgiveness if I've said anything that I should not have said, or maybe I'm sure I've missed many points, but yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you. All the best.
Thank you, Monica.
Thank you, Monica. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Monica.
Bye.
Thanks.
Namaste
you.
to you all.
Thank you.
Namaste. Namaste.
I've just shared a feedback form with the group if you want to fill it in, share your experience.
Yeah.
But mother's blessings to you all. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Namaste.
Namaste.